Hi guys! Today I'm going to show you how to make these delicious, fluffy, flaxseed hamburger buns now that grilling season is upon us. They're so delicious and easy, I hope you try it. Now we'll start with a warm cup of water. This is about 104 degrees Fahrenheit, that's 40 degrees Celsius, which is like warm but not too hot. I'm adding 2 teaspoons and a quarter of traditional yeast. You can use the instant stuff if you want, it doesn't really matter. But to help the blooming process along, I'm adding a tablespoon of sugar. Now presto changeo, it's bloomed, but not really. This took about 10 minutes. If you disturb the yeast, you can see that it will bloom a little bit more. This lets you know that your yeast is alive and kicking, and it's going to help you make those fluffy, fluffy, fluffy buns. Now to this, I'm going to add a half cup of all-purpose flour at first. I'm going to use total of about 3 cups, but I'm going to just incorporate some of this flour in first, and 2 tablespoons of milled flaxseed. This is full of great omegas, the healthy kind of fats as they say, and fiber. Now I'm going to add some like not so healthy fats, 2 tablespoons of olive oil. Oh no, I think I used canola in this case, but you can use olive oil, you can use melted earth balanced butter, it's all good. Now add a bit of salt, that was a teaspoon, and 2 half cups of all-purpose flour. Sorry about that. And then I'm going to stir it in, incorporate it, and until none of the dry bits remain. And after this, I'm actually going to add another cup of all-purpose flour. Keep doing this, incorporating the flour in until it becomes this ball that's just a little bit sticky, It starts to look like this, and then I'm going to flour my hands and pull everything into a dough ball. If you get, the dough all sticky on your hands, just flour your hands some more. Try not to do too much because you don't want your dough to be too stiff afterwards with too much flour. And then just turn it onto your board here. I'm using a cutting board, which as you can see was probably not the best choice, and also this table is not what I usually use to knead dough on. You can see it bending in the middle. I'm afraid I'm going to break it, and that's why I'm being kind of delicate with it. Now I'm going to knead for about 10 to 15 minutes, 5 to 10 minutes. Yeah, right, 15 minutes, heck no. Put it in a bowl and stick a lid on it. Then leave it alone for about 45 minutes until presto changeo, it doubles in size. At this point, out of habit, I don't know why, I put some flour on the top and then I punch it down. Then I'm going to gather it all into a cohesive dough ball, and the texture here is a lot smoother than you began with, and it's going to be a lot easier to knead. And basically the motion is just like pressing it down, folding it over and pressing it down into this kind of ball shape. Now to divide it up into the buns, I'm going to cut it into 6 pieces. This kind of method lets me do it a little bit more evenly than I would if I just separated it with my hands. Although one of my buns is always way bigger than the rest. Now you can see here, now I'm giving up on trying to knead dough on a cutting board on top of a table. That was a dumb idea to begin with. So I'm just going to knead each piece, kind of taking the edges, folding it into the middle, into this little like bun shaped package, and squeezing the edges into like a little pucker dumpling thing, and turn it over and squish it down. And then I'm just going to repeat with the rest of the dough balls. Next, I instantly have this baking sheet with parchment paper, lovely parchment paper, and putting on, I just put on the buns there. Now I'm kind of stretching the buns a little bit here, pulling the dough to the edges and sort of flattening it at the same time. I'm going to show you in a sec a different angle so you can kind of get a better idea of what I'm doing. I'm going to make these buns larger in diameter, but not flatten them out too much. Just pulling it gently so it doesn't tear or anything. Now once I have all of those done, I'm going to cover it with a plastic sheet with some flour on one side so it doesn't stick. You can also use a dish towel that's been soaked with water and then wrung out. Now this has been sitting here for about 45 minutes again, so it doubled in size, and I'm carefully taking off the plastic wrap. Now I am putting on some melted earth balanced butter, just very gently brushing it on. This is an optional step. You do not have to do this. You can actually just at this point pop it into your preheated oven. Your oven wants to be, or you want your oven to be, 375 degrees Fahrenheit preheated before you put these buns in the oven. So here I am just making them perfect and covered with that delicious earth balanced buttery spread. I'm telling you guys, that stuff is so freaking delicious. This is not sponsored, by the way, of course not. And this is what we have after 20 minutes in the oven. Some just fluffy buns. They're just a bit golden on the top, and I'll let you hear. It's hollow on the bottom. That is perfect. Then I'm gonna let it cool completely before I toast them and stick some burgers on top. So this here, what I'm using is an almond grain burger. Kind of not my favorite, actually. It used to be one of my favorites, and now I'm like, I don't know. My favorite, probably of the beefy types, is the Gardein beefless burger, and that is, it's kind of weirdly meaty. I mean, like kind of dangerous weird. You know, you don't believe it's not plant-based, but it is plant-based. Anyways, I hope you enjoyed this recipe. If you liked it, please hit the like button and subscribe for more videos each week. Bye for now.